This conference will now be recorded.
So, as you know that we are going to start with integrations, right? So let's focus more on about integrations itself. Okay. So I'll be going to show you the internal details and all related to integrations. So yeah, integrations. So our agenda is integration. Okay. So coming to integrations, okay, fine. Let's try to understand why we have to go for integrations. What is the purpose of integrations and all. Okay. So before that, we should understand what is this web service actually. What is web service? Need to understand what is this web service. Hmm. Coming to web service, in general, for example, when two or more systems, if they want to communicate, so this web service will help you to establish the communication between two or more systems. So that is the purpose of a web service. Okay, so why two or more systems they want to communicate? What is the need of communication between two or more systems? Why they have to communicate? Yeah, the reason behind this is, let me say, I have an application. I have an application which is implemented in Java. Okay, this is the application which is implemented in Java, and I have one more application which is implemented in .NET. Yeah, these are two different applications which are implemented in two different platforms. Okay, yeah, fine. Now this Java application wants to communicate with this .NET application. So why this Java application wants to communicate with this .NET application? The reason is this .NET application already has implemented some logic, okay, for some purpose. Let me say, Java application wants to provide a customer CRM services. So in that case, Java application wants to uh, create a policy. For example, let me say uh, I wanted to create a policy for a customer. Okay, so now Java doesn't have, in my application, in my Java application, I haven't created, I haven't defined any logic for policy creation. Okay, but that policy creation logic is being already implemented in .NET. So instead of creating the logic for policy creation in Java application, what I can do is I can go and make use of the .NET application, right? Anyhow, the .NET application has already implemented the logic for policy creation. Why can't I make use of that logic itself? Okay, why I unnecessarily go and write the logic for the entire policy creation and all in my Java application? Instead of doing that, we can communicate with the .NET application, and we can send the request details to the .NET application. It will receive those details. So see, in order to create a policy, we need customer details, right? So based on the customer details only, we'll generate the policy. So the .NET application has to request details like for which customer this policy creation has to be created. So such kind of details, the .NET application has to request the Java application. So now the Java application will send those request details to the .NET application. Now this .NET application will take those request details, and then it will create a policy for the customer, and then it will send as a response uh, the policy details to the customer itself with the help of Java application. So here these two applications are communicating. Okay, so Java is sending the request details and the .NET is receiving the request details, and then based on the request details, it is creating the policy now. Okay, so if you observe here, the thing is we are reusing the existing things, right? We are not starting from the scratch again. Okay, so anyhow, it's been already implemented. Why to unnecessarily again go and implement it? Not necessary. Okay, only the thing is we need to see how we can communicate with other systems and how we can get the uh, a response from the other system. That's the main purpose of a web service. Okay. And not only that, not only here Java and .NET. Here I just mentioned Java and .NET. There are many other applications which are implemented in many other platforms. Now, how these applications which are implemented in different platforms, they can communicate. So they can communicate with the help of, I mean, by means of your web service itself. Okay, right. So hope you are clear with what is web service actually. And in order to communicate between different systems, actually we need a protocol. So here protocol plays an important role. Okay, so what are the different protocols that we have actually? We do have different protocols, right? We do have HTTP protocol. Okay, we do have SMTP protocol. Okay, SMTP protocol, FTP protocol. Like we do have different protocols. Yeah, so these are the different protocols we have. So you know what is a protocol, right? So what is a protocol actually? A protocol is it's a guideline. Yeah, it contains set of rules and regulations, right? While communicating between systems, we need to follow certain guidelines, I mean rules and regulations. Okay, these protocols will provide those set of rules and regulations. Yeah. Protocol is a rule. Protocol defines rules and regulations. Yes. Hmm. Like we do have different protocols. Fine. These protocols we call them as transport protocols. Yeah, HTTP, SMTP. These are what transport protocols. Yeah, they are transport protocols. So we do have different. I mean, we do have different types of protocols, like transport protocols. We have okay, transport. These are all your transport protocols. Transport layer protocols. So fine, that is okay. Now, what is the other protocol we have? I mean, I told you that different types, right? One is transport layer protocol, and the other one is your messaging protocols. Yeah. So coming to messaging protocols, yeah, you have your SOAP. So SOAP is what? Your messaging protocol. Okay, it's a messaging protocol. I'll discuss. Yeah, SOAP is what exactly here. Yeah, let's come to our SOAP now. So SOAP is what exactly? SOAP is a web service, right? Yeah, SOAP is a web service. Not only SOAP, we do have different web services like REST, right? So mostly we deal with SOAP and REST. So along with this, we do have different web services. Okay. So, but we concentrate more on about SOAP service and REST service. SOAP internally uses what this HTTP protocol. SOAP service we use what your HTTP protocol. HTTP protocol. Yeah. So HTTP is what? It's a transport protocol, and SOAP is your messaging protocol. Okay. So SOAP internally uses what? HTTP protocol. Now, and not only that, SOAP also uses what? Your it uses HTTP protocol, and as well in order to send the data from one platform to another platform. I mean, one application to another application. So we have to communicate with different systems, right? So in communication, I mean, uh, how we send this communication data to different systems with the help of XML. So yes, XML. XML is your messaging format actually. Okay, messaging format. We use this XML messaging format to send the data. Okay, or to carry the data between the systems. So how we send the data between different systems means this. We use see Java is making requests with .NET. Okay, so fine. So it is using a protocol called HTTP protocol, and the messaging format what it is going to use. I'm just considering here what SOAP. Okay, SOAP as a web service. So yeah, so SOAP uses HTTP protocol. And it uses what an XML messaging format. So these two it uses. So in order to send a request. Okay. Now coming to response. Yeah, response also yes. Now .NET will send the response to the Java application. In which format? I mean, the response will again will reach the Java application in the XML format itself. All right. So SOAP internally uses what XML itself. So hope you know what is XML, right? Do you know XML?
Uh, kind of, yeah. But we can go through everything. So far, everything is good.
Okay, okay. So let's try to understand XML also, then we'll beyond. Okay, fine. So let's try to understand what is this XML. Yeah, before that, before that. Okay, so fine. What is web service you understood? And this web service uses what? Different protocols like HTTP protocol as your transport layer, and messaging format is your XML. Yeah, that's it.
Correct.
Let me just okay. Let me come back to this WSDL actually. So let's try to discuss about WSDL. Yeah, XML, I have stopped there now. So
Correct.
explain that with XML. Yes, let's
See,
understand about WSDL. Hmm.
XML to like how to read page list properties and page property inside the XML, right?
Hmm.
To
So come,
understand.
yes, what is XML means? Okay, fine. XML is your extensible markup language, right? Extensible markup language. So what's the use of this XML is, see, big organizations will use databases like Oracle, MySQL, right? They can afford those databases, but small scale organizations, they cannot afford those huge databases. I mean, they cannot purchase license for those huge databases. Okay, so that is the problem with small organizations. So what they can do now, so they also have to maintain the data, right? So, but they cannot afford huge databases. Okay, in that case, what they can do is they can go for XML. So to process the data, they can do what? They can go for XML. So you can consider XML as what? XML is like a database. It's a mini database. XML is a mini database. So it acts like a database only. So how I'm able to say it acts like a mini database? The reason is, for example, if I want to see XML holds the data, right? It stores the data.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. For example, if I want to hold the customer data, so what I'll do is I'll define a tag like customer is the tag here, and I want to hold the customer first name. Likewise, I can hold the data of the customer using these tags. If you observe using these tags, I'm holding the data itself, right? So it's like a database only. Last name. So this is one customer detail. Like if I want to hold multiple customer details, then what we have to do is we need to define multiple customer tags. Okay. Okay, so I need to hold multiple customer details. In that case, what I'll do, I'll just define one more outer tag. I mean, let me say customer detail is the tag. So, okay,
But from here, how do you determine if it's a page property, a page list? Like if you're reading it from Pega. So you have to accordingly create that data model, right?
yeah, yes, Sami, please repeat it again.
No. What I'm saying is, looking at the XML, how do you understand if the property is page list or page? This is page, right? I understand this. Let's say if you want to read a page list property in XML, how do you understand that?
By means of indexes only. Okay,
Okay.
we will be having attribute. Okay, for this, see, okay, this is the tag, right? So, customer tag I have. So let me say I will be having an attribute. So that attribute will decide. So for example, here I'll specify some repeating index is the attribute. Okay. So our page list index, some index. Let me say index attribute itself. I have one of the attribute called index. So index is equal to, let me say, 1. Okay. So this attribute will decide whether it is a page list or a page.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So, so in the, let me say I have took one more tag. Let me just copy this. Hmm. Here the index is 2. Okay. So this represents what the repeating, whether it is a page list or not. So these kind of complex structures, if when you have, then definitely we have to go for what XML itself. Okay. So using XML, what we are doing is actually we are just holding the data. Okay. So that's the reason I told you this as like a mini database.
Got it.
Okay. Right. So let's concentrate now about WSDL. So yeah. So why I'm just going to the WSDL, the reason I'll tell you. Yeah, so WSDL stands for here your web service definition or description language. Just go to WSDL. So coming to WSDL, so it stands for web service description language. Yeah. And how WSDL related with Pega? I mean, how WSDL is related with Pega? So that also we need to discuss. So I'll discuss this at the end. Okay, how WSDL is related. I mean, how WSDL is related with what Pega integration rules. Okay, so how WSDL is related with Pega integration rule, we'll see at the end this. Okay, so but before that, why actually WSDL was introduced, we have to understand. So how is fine, and we need to look at actually why actually first. Why WSDL was introduced? Why WSDL was introduced? So why WSDL was introduced? The reason is why WSDL was introduced is it is introduced to expose all the service related details. Okay, yeah, it is introduced to expose what all the service service related details like request parameters, response parameters, right? Yeah, so it was introduced to expose all the service related details like what request and response parameters. So that's the reason. That's the reason of introducing WSDL. So how service provider is going to expose? See, in the previous case, Java and .NET, I told you, right? Java is uh, an application which is requesting for the service from home, from the .NET. So .NET is the service provider here. Okay, so here you can see client and service provider, right? So client is making a request and service provider has to uh, respond with this response. I mean, with this service actually. So in that case, the client should know what details that he has to send to the service provider, and the service provider has to tell what request details he needs, right? And yeah, so how this client and service provider will understand? I mean, there should be a mutual understanding between the client and service provider, right? So that mutual understanding will be established with the help of WSDL itself. So WSDL will provide a way between, I mean, a communication way between your client and service provider. Okay, yeah, it establishes a standard between client and service provider actually. Okay, fine. Right. So now let's try to understand this WSDL now. So what is WSDL actually? Okay, fine. Why WSDL is clear, and what is WSDL we need to understand. What is WSDL? Yeah. So coming to WSDL, actually it is an XML based language. So WSDL is implemented using what? XML based. I mean, it's XML based language. Okay. Yeah, XML based language. Now, this WSDL will help you to describe or define the service. I mean, the service related details. I mean, it is used to define what the service level, the service related details. So it is used to define or describe, to define or describe the web services. Yeah, it is used to define or describe the web services. Right. And these WSDL files, as you know that every file should have an extension, right? Like Java will have .java, okay, like HTML.html, XML.xml. Like every file will have an extension. Coming to WSDL, WSDL is nothing but a file. It's a document, right? So it is also having an extension. Yeah, this file will have an extension. WSDL. Okay, this file contains what actually? This WSDL file contains the service related details. Like what we can expect is we can expect the request details, the response details. Okay, not only request and response, there are other details. So we'll discuss what are the other details we have in the WSDL. So today our concentration is what on the WSDL file. What are the contents of the WSDL file? Okay, what contents we have in the WSDL file. So that is what our agenda. Okay, got
Sure.
now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Right. So it extends. I mean, the extension of the WSDL file is .WSDL, and see, this WSDL file will provide a standard way to communicate between service provider and consumer. That's what I have explained. So it's going to provide a standard way to communicate between service provider and consumer. So, and this WSDL file, I mean, this WSDL follows standard definitions and standard structure so that every consumer can easily understand the service details. Okay, right. So that's what about WSDL actually. Right. So in short, that's what about WSDL. Now let's try to understand about this WSDL structure. Yeah. So in order to see the WSDL structure, let me show you one of the simple WSDL file. Let's open a simple WSDL file. We find out. WSDL file. WSDL example. Okay, fine. Let me open this. Oh, sorry. This sample WSDL document. Let's open the sample WSDL document. Let's try to understand the sample WSDL document. So if you observe here in this WSDL document, which is the root tag means your definition is the root tag. The definition is the root tag.
Okay.
Definitions. This is the root tag, and inside this root tag, we'll have all WSDL contents, all your WSDL contents. Yes. Yeah. WSDL contents. Fine. So now, yeah, I'll discuss about those WSDL contents now. So let me highlight what are those contents that you'll be going to have. You'll be going to have the main tags like you have services tag. Yeah, you have services tag. You have let me show you where this services tag that we have in this document. So you can see here right. This is one of the main tags, which is your service. Yes, the service tag will describe what your endpoint URL and all. Okay. So yeah, we'll see about the contents of this service tag as well.
Sure.
Services tag, and what are the other tags that we have? Let us list out. You have port tag also, right? You have port tag. Let me just go and verify. Yeah, inside the service tag, you can see port tag, right? So
So all the WSDL file will have the same tags like the
yes,
root
same tag.
service tag,
Yes,
same thing, right?
same thing. This is what template I'm showing. The same thing will have in all the services. I mean, in all the
Okay.
WSDL files, the same
And
tags.
it's just the same standard way of reading all of them, right?
Yes,
Okay.
same standard. The
Okay.
standard one I'm telling. Okay, so you can open any other WSDL file. You can understand easily. Once if you are clear with this tag, then you can easily understand those other whatever the services. I mean, whatever the web services you are dealing, you can easily understand. Okay.
Got it.
In Pega also, I'll show you one of the example. I'll show you and I'll correlate with these tags. Okay.
Sure. Perfect.
Fine. So now coming to there is one more tag, not only services tag. We have port tag. So before going to see, let me discuss about service tag. So what is service tag actually? So service tag, it can, yeah, service tag can hold more than one service. So in a WSDL file, you can define more than one service. Okay, it's not like that per service one WSDL file. Okay, so in a WSDL file, you can define more than one service. Okay, so it can hold. Okay, it can hold more than one service. I mean, using the tag, more than one service. So if you look at here, so what is the service name here? So see, this is the attribute service, service name. This is the service actually. Like you can have multiple services actually. It's not like that you can have only one service in a WSDL file. We can expose multiple services. The service name here is specified here what endorsement search service. Instead of search service, I mean, like you have uh, not only a search service, update service, create service. Like you might be having different services, right? Yeah. And each service will be having a port. Okay. All right. So in this case, he has defined only one service. Here we have only one service. You can also find multiple services. And how these services are differentiated with the help of name itself, name of the
Then for the
service.
second and service, the same information will be repeated, like service name, documentation, port number, binding.
Yes,
So,
yes.
okay, got
These
it.
are the child tags. These are the child tags of the service tag. Okay. And this service is running on which port, the port name you can see here, and the bindings you can see here. I'll discuss what is port and what is binding, and the service on running on which location. I mean, this is the location. I mean, this is the location where the service is running. Okay. So this is the URL which we consume in the connect show. Okay.
Got it.
This is the endpoint URL which we consume in the SOAP connect SOAP. Fine. So, so service. Yeah, here one more thing we need to understand, not only service, and you do also have something called operation. So operation tag is also there, right? Yeah. We have service tag and operation. So generally people will have, I mean, people will be misguided. So service and operation are one and the same, means they are not same. Service and operation, they are not same. This is very important, not point. What service and operation are two different things actually. Yeah, two different things. We'll see that now. Mm, so if you look at here operation, uh, operation name. See, one service can have multiple operations. Okay, one service can have multiple operations. Like for example, let me say uh, I have a CRUD service, create, retrieve, update. This is the service name I have. Okay, now the service provide what different operations like create, retrieve, update, delete. These are what different operations that I can provide using a single service. Okay, got it? See the
Got it.
difference
Got
between service and operations. So service and operation are not the same; they are different. So one service can provide multiple operations. Like for example, I want to get employee details. Okay, get employee personal details, get employee professional details, get employee address details. These are different operations, not different services. Right. So fine. So that's about no, same way. Yeah, that's what I told you, right? Customer, get customer profile info, get customer address. These are multiple operations we can have in a given service. Now, coming to service, yeah, service will publish the port details. Yeah, generally services will publish what the port details. Services will publish port details. So service tag only na has the port details.
correct.
Service has the port. So service will publish the port details. These are the port details of a particular service. Which service? Endorsement such service is the service here in this case. Okay, right. Now let's discuss about what this port. Let's try to understand port. Now port will specify the binding details inside the port definition. So port, it's specified here somewhere where it has gone. Okay. Coming to port, let's define the port now. So port specifies the endpoint URL. Endpoint URL. It specifies the endpoint URL, as I just shown you now. So this is your endpoint URL. Okay, right. So service will publish the end port details. Now let's see about the binding also. Here we have something called binding, right? So where it is? Bindings. So what is this binding actually? So in binding, we do have different, I mean, we can, in binding, we can specify 4 different elements. So here we don't have all those 4 different elements. Here you can just see only one element, which is your address and location. This document we can just see out the binding name, you can see. Okay, and here yeah, what are those 4 different specific elements we have in a binding? Let me list out first. So coming to bindings.
But what is bindings though? Like, what is it used for?
So binding is used to define what like the port type and the binding style. Like we have document RPC, right? Document RPC. So these are the details we can define in the binding. Like not only we can define what transport, what kind of protocol we are going to use. Okay, so and uh, and using binding we can specify various operations used within the service. So these all details we'll define in the bindings actually. So let me just go to this. Mm, It's in this document. He hasn't defined those details actually. He just specified only the endpoint URL. So not endpoint URL. See, in the port, what we did, port is actually specifies what your endpoint URL, and inside the port tag we have this. One of the attribute is binding, right? So you can just look at the binding tag also we have here. So let me just go to the binding. So which is the binding name here we have given? Endorsement such so binding, right? So let me look for the binding here. Yeah, these are the details. Yes, this is what I'm trying to explain. This is about your binding. So binding is a separate tag. Okay, that binding information we are using inside the port. So what is the binding name here I have given? Endorsement such so binding, right? And this binding I'm using inside where exactly? I'm using here itself in the port tag, right? Endorsement such so binding. So what I told you regarding binding, it defines what 4 specific elements like type of the binding. Okay, port type. It defines what it defines the port type, and it defines what we can specify various operations. Okay, we can specify various operations used within the service. So what operation? Get endorsing some operation here I specified. Okay, so only one operation I have defined here. Okay, again this operation will have what? Input, output. So every operation will have what? Input and output, right? Yeah, and the fault as well if anything goes wrong. Error handling can be done with the help of fault itself. Getting regarding
Yeah.
binding here, let me just describe binding. So binding, yeah, we can specify 4 elements inside a binding definition. Inside a binding definition. So what are those 4 elements we can define? One is your That is your type. So here you can see type. This type. Type. What is this type refers actually? Type refers to prototype. I mean port type. Port type. So you can see here port type, right? So get endorsing border port type. So that port type, you can just press. You can see here, get endorsing. That port type is specified here, right? Border port. Okay, that refers to type. And the next thing is your binding style. Yeah, binding style. Style. So what is the binding style? We actually RPC or document. I'll show you this where we have exactly. Let me open one of the connect soap rule in Pega. Check did I. God, I have already started the server again.
Oh, you're shutting down by
I'll
accident?
discuss. I'll discuss.
No problem.
Already have started the server again. I'll discuss this RPC and document style. See, what this binding style talks about. For example, the request is coming in the XML format. Okay. In the case of SOAP service, how the request will be coming to the service in the format XML, in the form of XML. So the request body will be available in the format of XML itself. Okay. If it is XML, then you have to specify document as the binding style. Okay. If the request is coming, okay, the request is coming in the XML format, then you have to go for document. If the request is coming in the form of a simple string format, okay, then you have to go for RPC. Okay, the request can either XML or a string format. Okay, if it is coming in the XML format, then you have to specify the binding style as what document. Okay, that's the purpose of specifying the binding style. I'll show you these details in the connect soap rule also. I'll come back and I'll discuss these things.
Sure, no problem.
Service I have created. Let me open any of the application. Yeah, let me just go for the integration connectors. Let me open this connect soap tool, existing connect soap tool. Let me open any of the existing. So you can see here in the existing connect soap rule, here you can see style and use, right? The style and use here, what he has used RPC. Okay, so we do also have document. Okay, that is being specified in this binding style. Which style you want to use, RPC or document? So if you are dealing with XML, go for document. Okay.
Okay.
If you're dealing with string data type, I mean clipboard. If you're dealing with clipboard properties, then go for RPC model. Yeah.
Clipboard properties RPC, right?
Yes.
So we always use
Yes.
RPC.
Soap uses XML, so we go for document.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah. So fine, I'll correlate these things with this XML document, digital file itself.
Sure, no problem.
So this style and use, we need to how this style and use we are getting here. Actually, you have request response false. Okay. Okay. This is where we specify this endpoint URL, service endpoint URL. The port has the service endpoint URL, right? And I mean, actually, the SOAP, actually, where we can find out this endpoint URLs.
I think it's the
You
service package. No.
service package. Yes. Sorry. Yeah, service
Oh,
package.
yeah.
So there, that's the reason I'm going to that service package.
I know bits and pieces, not the whole picture.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, no problem. Hmm. Okay. So how the service package will be populated with the connection URL means, yeah. So in the service package, we specify what, see, we'll bind this connect soap rule, right? Because of that reason, service package will be populated with that endpoint URL. Yeah, I'll discuss those details later on.
Sure.
So fine. Now I think you are able to understand what is the purpose of this binding style, right?
Yes,
Let's
I'm clear. Yeah.
Now let's see about the next thing, which is your next element, which is your binding transport. So we do also have binding transport. The transport here is SOAP and your HTTP protocol. So what, as I told you that SOAP uses HTTP protocol, right?
Yeah, HTTP is a transport protocol and SOAP is a messaging protocol you just mentioned.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
All right. So and binding will also have the next element is your operations. I mean, what operations? These operations will all define where exactly means in the binding tag itself. Okay. And that binding tag we are using in the services, in the port. In the services in port we are using it. So operations. So we can specify various operations used within the service, right? We can specify what using operations tag. We can specify. Yeah, we can specify various operations used in within the service. Yeah, you can see here in the document. Let me just go to this document. So in this binding, okay, type is fine. Next is your binding style. Style where you can see, here you can see style, right? Document is using what document style. And in the transport protocol, see here transport protocol is what? HTTP. That's what I specified. Transport protocol is HTTP. And operations you can see. Operations here, okay, here how many operations I have? Only one operation I have. Okay, what is that operation? Get endorsing border. Some operation I have. This this is the start tag and this is the end tag. And in this inside this operation, what is the input? Input and what is the output? Okay, if anything goes happen, what is the fault message? So
And the fault is used for error handling, right?
yes.
Okay, got it.
Right. And you can also see there is one more tag called message also. Let me discuss about this also as well. And you can also see here a port type. We just specified type now here. So type refers what the port type, as I told you here. Just if you observe, it type refers to the port type. You can just see here the port type here. We have one more tag called port type. So this port types defines what uh, it has what the operations, right? The operation is here. And what is that operation? It holds some input message and output message and the fault message. You can see input is nothing but your request and output is nothing but your response. Okay, so getting, so
Yes, yes.
binding has those four elements. Type, so type I have used here. This is the type. Okay, this is the type I have used. Fine. Port type is clear. So port type, inside port type what we defined, hmm, so this port type actually if you observe one second, that is fine. Port type is fine. And operation, right? So this is the operation. Inside binding only we define this operation. So what is that operation we have? Operation name get mm, endorsing border. So where you can see that operation actually here. This operation I have used here, right? So inside this operation again I have used what input and output fault messages. These are related to the messaging actually, right? So you can see messages I have defined here. A request, response. This is your response. Okay. Right. Clear, no? This structure.
Yes, yes, Saeed.
Okay. Okay. That's about binding. That's about binding tag actually. So as I have discussed regarding the difference between RPC and document also. See, document style model is used when the SOAP message body is XML. RPC style model is used when the SOAP message body is simple data type, which is nothing but string. Okay.
Got it.
So we need to understand. Uh, Okay. And we also have two models to use for the above styles actually. For RPC and document, we have two models actually. One is encoded and the other one is literal. Let me specify those things as well here. Let me specify here itself. Okay. So we have two models related to what I mean. Two models to use for the above RPC to use RPC and document. Two models, right? We have two models to use RPC and document styles. these are styles actually. RPC and document are styles. Coming to what are those two models we have? We have encoded model and literal model. Literal model. If you observe here in this connect soap rule, you can see RPC encoded and RPC literal, right? So two models we have, encoded and literal. Okay. So what is this encoded and literal also we need to understand. Okay. So these are the two models we have, and these two models are applicable for those two styles. So how many combinations we got here? RPC, we have RPC encoded, right? And we have RPC literal, and we have document encoded, and we have document literal. So what is RPC encoded? Okay, actually this is deprecated. Now we are not using it. It's a deprecated one. So RPC encoded is a deprecated one. It is used for what? To support legacy services. Okay, deprecated. Used to support legacy services. RPC encoded is. And coming to RPC literal, yeah, used when the request is simple parameters. Used when request is in simple parameters. Simple parameters. I mean, can be directly mapped from the clipboard itself. That's what the meaning actually. Can be directly mapped from a string literal. It's a string literal. Can be directly mapped from the clipboard itself. In the case of RPC literal, we can directly map from the clipboard itself. But in the case of XML, we cannot directly map it, right? So we have to convert it. Yes or no? We have to
Yes.
convert XML to clipboard. We have to convert in the case of XML. So to convert from XML to clipboard, what we have, we do have some this one
Parse
parse
XML, stream XML.
parse XML rules, stream XML rule, right? So
Correct.
there we have that. But in the case of RPC, you cannot. I mean, you don't require that. You can directly map. Okay, fine. That's about RPC literal. Now coming to document encoded, document encoded is not applicable to Pega. Not applicable. Okay. Now coming to document literal, yeah, used when the request is in when the request is in XML format. That's what. So here, that's the reason you can see here different styles, right? Document literal, RPC encoded. So you cannot see document encoded. So that's specified here what not applicable in Pega. Okay. There is no called document encoded. Only document literal we have. Or either RPC encoded or RPC literal. RPC encoded is also deprecated. It is used to support only for legacy services. Okay.
Got it.
Fine. Okay. So let's try to understand few more things. So right now, what is the time now? There?
11:50.
11:50. My God, I think you're getting sleep.
No, 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 I'm paying attention.
Okay.
Yes, yes, yes. Good session, Saeed, though. Very good session.
Okay. Fine. Thank you. And
No problem.
one more thing is, I just wanted to show you one thing. One second. So style and use is fine. And hmm. so let me just go to this document. So here you can see in this connect soap URL, you can see method name, nothing but your operation name, and this is your URI, right? So namespace URI, and this is your soap action header, where you can find these details in your XML actually. So if you go to this document, these details we got from here only. Mm, we'll be having one tag called soap action. Yeah, this is where you can see, right? This one. Okay, this is a standard document. That is the reason I'm not able to map with your existing Connect SOAP URL. I mean Connect SOAP rule. So, mm, so you have one of the attribute called SOAP action header also. That it is not visible in this. I mean, not there in this standard document.
Okay,
Mm, I'll show you that tag also. I mean about that act. So how we got these elements also I'll discuss. Like how this we got. Okay. Method name is nothing but your operation name. I mean your service name. I mean your service will have what? See, this is the service name actually.
but you said service name, service and operation is different, right? People usually get confused.
Yes, 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 yes. I mean, one service can have multiple operations. I'll
Correct.
discuss that. I'll show you that where you can differentiate exactly the service and the operations. Yeah. Request response. Fine. Let me. He just generated this soap rule. I just have to. I mean, this is the existing one. Huh? So we'll do one thing. We'll just try to consume one connect soap. I mean, one existing vessel. I mean, not existing. I need to create that uh, URL, and then I mean soap service URL I need to generate, and then we'll see how to consume it. So while consuming, then I can discuss about these options here. Okay, fine.
Sure.
So here method name is your something called rule search service we have. Fine. Mm, hmm. So here method name is nothing but your operation name. Just a moment. That method name is nothing but operation name, not service name. It is operation name itself.
Okay.
So method name is nothing but your operation name. So you can just see if that existing, I mean, this is existing SOAP rule, right? That's the reason we are not able to correlate with your wizard. So what I'll do is I'll just in the coming session we'll see how to create this service SOAP and then how to consume it. There we can I can again come back to this WSDL discussion. I'll show you how I'll relate these things, these attributes and all, these elements and all. Okay.
Okay.
Checking bind. Okay, fine. Coming to request and response also, we'll discuss there itself. See, while discussing this request and response, I need to discuss about XML stream rule I need to discuss and XML parse rule I have to discuss. Okay, so that I need to discuss. Mm. And before that, you can see that port type, message, and data types, right? Port types, okay, fine. We understood, and messages also we have seen. That WSDL document. Yeah. So, okay. So the next thing what we can do is we have to go for SOAP service creation. I mean, before SOAP service creation, uh, we need to understand about this XML stream rule and your parse XML rule. Yeah, parse XML rule we have to understand. I need a session. I mean, I need one session on these two. Then we'll go for what? Yeah, the next agenda I'm telling here.
Okay.
Then to go for what? Service SOAP creation. Once we complete XML stream and parse, then we'll go for service SOAP creation, and then we'll go for what? Connect SOAP. This is the sequence we need to follow. Okay. And
Okay.
nowadays people, I mean, see, nowadays people are not creating separately stream rule and parse rule. So we have wizard, right? So using wizard, uh, we can create service SOAP rule. So as part of that wizard, these rules will be actually XML stream is one rule and parse XML is a different rule. Okay, so these rules we need not to go and create individually. We can, I mean, these rules will be created as part of your wizard itself. Okay, for connect SOAP and service SOAP, we have wizards. So yeah, so we'll go through wizards only, but we'll try to understand how these rules got created and what is there in these rules actually in the XML stream and parser.
So, and question, is it recommended to create these rules and the implementation integration rule set or organization integration rule set? Or do we have to like,
Integration rule set. We have to create them in integration rule set itself.
yeah, but implementation or organization?
Integration, not implementation. Integration rule set.
No, no, no.
Organization level.
Is,
See, I got your point.
oh yeah,
So we have org int, right? So here we need to create them.
yeah. Okay, okay. Oh, no, what I meant to say is like at the application integration level or organization integration level.
Your voice has break.
No,
you're
no, I
not
was at
clear.
int rule set. We have one at an organization level, right?
Yes.
And another at
See,
application.
these another at application level also we have.
Correct.
See,
That's what
that's
I,
what. I understood. See, when we go for organization level, when these integration rules are used across your divisions, I mean, like if you want to reuse across multiple divisions, then we have to create an organization level.
also
Okay.
the same concept apply just like the class structure,
Yes.
right? Got
Yes.
it. Got
Yes.
it.
The same.
Got it. Perfect. I'm clear. I'm clear now.
Hmm, the same concept.
Oh
So,
yeah. It depends
so
on
today,
your case, right?
yes.
How you
Yes.
want to. Perfect.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So today I'll just conclude here.
Okay.
We'll have the next session on Saturday. Saturday, yeah. Saturday and Sunday, the coming weekend.
Okay, perfect, Saeed. Saeed, can you stop the recording? I just want to discuss a few more things.
Yeah, sure. Let me stop.
This conference will now be recorded.
Create a connect so rule. Integration connectors, create SOAP integration. Okay. Upload WSDL from URL. Okay. Let's paste that URL here. What's it saying? Okay, let me delete this double quotes from here. Okay, this service is not available. That is the reason it is giving an exception. Okay. I thought of. Okay, no problem. So this I'll show you in a different session. Okay. We'll generate our own URL and then we'll just try to consume it. There again I'll come back to the WSDL and I'll discuss those elements.
Okay.
So, fine. Okay. Okay. Then see you. See you on Saturday.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good.
So see what happens sometimes in the online there might be publishing those services, but those services may not be available. In that case, definitely you'll get these kind of issues. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Like all these free WSDL, right? They most of the time don't, right?
Yes. Okay. Okay then.
Okay, Saeed. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Okay, take care. Have a good morning.
thank you. Good night.
Yeah. Good night.